Producers have many different jobs. What I do usually on a project is I manage it. I think the good producer is the producer that understands the project he's working on, that he knows, or he has a vision that is close to the directors. I think our role is to give as much as we can, hire, the right talents, and by that I mean technicians that offer some creativity to the plate so that the director can pick from everyone. The director has to be sort of a catalyst, he has to and so if you don't offer him anything, he's stuck. We're here to help. I've had the chance to have a first part of my career in France because I'm French, and what people may not know is no matter where you live, very often the projects that you're given to work on are not necessarily shot where you live, and that was the case for most of the projects I've ever worked on. When I was in France, I went all the way to the North Pole, for instance. I did two documentaries and 2 features up there. It was very formative and very, very different from projects you can do in New York City, for instance, where other people's lives are involved. Over there, you have to create everything, including the daily life, which includes all the meals, where you're going to sleep. I'll tell you what, on this particular project in the Arctic, we went to a town that had 300 inhabitants, but our crew was like 35, and there was no hotel. So I had a problem, how are we going to put these people to bed every night? And so the mayor of this little village said, it's okay, I'll make a speech on the radio, and I'll ask everyone if they can host one of your crew members in their home. I said, fantastic, that's great, it's a great idea. And so I was there with him, and he spoke in Inuktitut. And then very quickly, in the following day, he said to me, it's great, we got all your people lodged. I said, this is great, Mayor, you're just fantastic, you're a great man, And then he said, but it'll cost you $150 every night. So, I put it in the budget, and it was normal. But at the time, it was, this was like maybe 15 or 18 years ago, it was a lot of money in my budget. I think you have to reasonably look at all the options that are given to you every time there's a question, and lay them out, see how much money you have, and if you can spend it. The idea is to try and spend the money that you have in the right place. It's always something that you hear while preparing a film is I want to see my money on the screen. That's where you want it. You don't want to spend it on huge salaries. You don't want to spend it on perks and jets and whatnot. That you have ridiculous demands that have nothing to do with the film or will make the film better. With our job, we travel a lot. We have the chance to really go to places that people never ever go, and there would be no reason for these people to go. Like, I'll give you an example of some of the things I've done to research for location for a film. This was when we were shooting Oceans. Jacques Perrin, the producer and director of the film, said, Antoine, we need to include what relates the oceans to the earth, and that is of course the rivers, and what is the animal, because we were pursuing the way to make the water alive is through an animal, so fish, right? So what is the one that lives between salt water and fresh water, the salmon, because it's born in fresh water and dies in the fresh water. It's a cycle. And so the idea was to scout the year before, where probably a large group of salmon would arrive to nest, to fray at the end of their lives, and come back the next year and hope they would be there at the rendezvous. So I answered Jack, but you know, there's between Alaska and California, the river systems are as large as half of the United States. It's huge. Where should I go, you know? And he said, it's your problem. And so, you know, the job consists of talking to marine biologists, getting some answers, some scientific answers, to have the most chances to go to a place, to decide to spend money, to go to a place where something will happen. And so I decided to go to British Columbia. And in British Columbia, I had a helicopter, so I could go up the river. And so we took the doors off, and we went all the way up the river system of, I forget the name of the river, but all the way to the top, and then we landed, and then we took a car, a 4x4, and we went into the forest, you know, passing by wolves and grizzlies, and then we couldn't use a car anymore, and we walked and walked and walked, and we arrived at the first drop in the moss of the beginning of that huge river system that, you know, that was like 500 miles into the land, you know. It was magnificent, and we're just like watching this little drop of water, and it's beautiful. And we knew that, and there was a little pond right there, and we knew that salmon would make that entire trip from the ocean to that little place, and it would be beautiful with the trees and the light coming through, and probably a grizzly bear waiting for them as well. But that would be the following year. That was very magical.